Howdy ho, fellow warriors, BouseFeenux here, and today, it's time for everyone's favorite content, patch notes with gameplay in the background. Fuck, I can't do that voice anymore. I wasn't actually planning on making a video today, but someone pointed out to me that the patch notes had gone up on the forums already, and I'd usually cover them the day they release, but there's a dev stream tomorrow, and I don't feel like killing myself by putting out two detailed videos in the same day. So in this video, we're going to talk about what you can expect to change when patch 1.08 goes live tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. EDT, and tomorrow afternoon, I'll have the recap of the dev stream up as always. Now, YouTuber shit gargle aside, let's get to it. First up, guard switch timing is finally getting fixed. This is one of the things we knew was coming from what they had said in the dev stream last week, so currently, if you're out of the loop, there are 5 characters in the game right now that have a slightly slower guard switch than some of the other characters in the game. Those would be the Centurion, the Lawbringer, Raider, Nobushi, and Shigoki. Currently, their guard switch is set at a whopping 300 milliseconds, which, against some other characters, is a pretty huge disadvantage. After the patch tomorrow, though, everyone will have the same 100 milliseconds guard switch time. So rejoice, Lawbringer mains, you might finally be able to block a few Peacekeeper lights. Next, the guard break follow-ups bug is being fixed as well, and you probably haven't even noticed this, but a few weeks ago, we had that one-shot bug that Warden and a few other characters were able to execute, and well, they fixed it, but the fix caused some characters to bug out slightly with their out-of-lock-on attacks. That's gonna be fixed with the patch. Oh, and they're also patching the one-hit kill bug in single player as well. Anyway, let's move on to the meat of this video, and to be honest, this is probably the reason that most of you are even here right now. Let's talk about the buffs and nerfs to characters coming in this patch. Firstly, the Kensei. As I mentioned in the dev stream video last week, Kensei is getting a small buff this time around. It comes in the form of a buff to his Helm Splitter and Swift Strike attacks. Currently, these attacks are treated as light attacks when blocked, and as such, they're interrupted if someone blocks them. After the patch, though, they'll no longer be interrupted on block. Additionally, if the Swift Strike is blocked, it's no longer a free guard break on the Kensei. So basically what all this means is that even if your Helm Splitter or Swift Strike is blocked, you'll be able to still go straight into your top unblockable mix-ups or uninterruptible side heavy. In my opinion, this is a step in the right direction, but it's still not quite the buff Kensei really needs to be competitive. Those attacks have massive tells that make them very easy to avoid and parry, but it does give them a bit more utility, so we'll see what people can do with it. Moving on though, the next character getting a tweak is the Warden. Most of the changes to Warden this time around are nerfed to his shoulder bash. Again, this time around they're nerfing the cancel on the shoulder bash. After the patch drops, shoulder bash can only be canceled into idle or guard break at the start of the charge, or 400 milliseconds in for those of you that like frame data. Additionally, the stamina costs for the various charged states of shoulder bash have been increased by quite a lot. A minimum charged shoulder bash now costs 20 stamina, up from 10, a fully charged one costs 30, up from 15, and a cancel to idle costs 20, up from 18 stamina. So holy shit, a lot of these values have been increased by almost 100% if my math is right. Now, it looks like Warden will have to worry about stamina management a little bit more than he used to. Anyway, the big nerf this patch is coming to Shinobi. We knew it was coming, but we didn't know all the details until just now, and Jesus, he got hit pretty hard from the looks of it. On paper, it looks pretty rough, but we'll see how it plays out in practice. As for the details, though, the big one is that he can no longer double dash into a guard break. This is kind of harsh considering that this was one of Shinobi's best mind games. If he double dashes at you, you got hit with either a kick or a guard break, and you kind of had to guess which one. Now, during the last 300 milliseconds of the second dash, he cannot connect a guard break. On top of that, the area of effect for his kick is smaller, which I think was a needed change. That kick has so much phantom range, and it's almost as bad as the Centurion punch. In addition to all this, though, a bunch of the double dodge kick stamina values have also been increased, and the real kicker here, see what I did there, is that there's now a small punish window to interrupt the kick with an attack. You'll have a small opportunity to land a hit at the startup of a kick, and I imagine it'll be just like how you can interrupt Warden's shoulder bash on startup as well. So, geez, man, this was some pretty heavy tough love by the devs to try and balance out Shinobi, and we'll see how it works when the patch actually releases. And lastly, for fighters, as we already know, the Warlord is getting a small change too. His directional throw distance to the back and sides is getting massively reduced. I don't feel like this is the end of the world, but I know there's a lot of ledge-happy warlords that are going to be super triggered by this. But hey, it could be worse. You could be a Shinobi main in this patch. As for other non-fighter stuff, though, there were a ton of changes to a bunch of different feats. If I were to talk about them all in detail, this video would be about 20 minutes long, so I've left them out for now, but the short of it is, though, that from looking through the changes, I didn't really see anything that was too game-breaking. One thing I did like, though, was that pretty much all the projectile feats have been nerfed damage-wise. The devs felt like they were a bit too powerful for how easy they were to use, and I think that we can all pretty much agree on that. If, however, you need a bit more detail, I'll have the patch notes linked for you down below to reference on your own. The last thing they took a look at, though, is defense penetration. Essentially, they've just lowered the maximum amount you can have by 2 percentage points. Currently, the highest is 17.5% defense penetration, and after the patch, it'll go down to 15.2%. This is a step in the right direction, just like a lot of the stuff in this patch, but it still doesn't change how defense penetration scales. That's the real problem. It'll still be extremely powerful as a secondary stat, even with this nerf. On the forum, though, they've stated that they still aren't seeing it as that much of an issue and that people aren't picking it as often as you'd think. Personally, I think people just don't understand how OP it is, and as soon as that catches on, it'll be a must-have stat like Revenge was in Season 1. What do I know, though? I just read patch notes. Anyway, guys, that's about it for patch 1.08. As I mentioned earlier, if you've got additional questions, you can see the notes for yourself by using the link I've put in the description below, and that being said, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to leave a like down below to show your support, get subscribed if you're new here, and if you haven't already, join my Discord to ask any questions you may have. Until next time, though, I'm BouseFeenux, I'll see you at the next one, and as always, thank you so much for watching.